Top 10 Gamer React. Hey guys, welcome back to
Podcast unnamed. Insert name here.
welcome back to
Title card.
welcome back to podcast. Welcome back to the Pyre team. Welcome back to the Pyre M team. Oh, sorry. Welcome back to the Team Empire. No, welcome back to the Empire team. Welcome back to the Empire team.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Empire team, and thank you boys for well, you're laughing already for the intro. And we want to say, from the Sofield family, happy Thanksgiving. Okay, you guys are dismissed. We totally planned that.
All right.
All right.
Off they go.
Bye. So this is officially, I guess, the first mini podcast.
Yeah. So I would say probably, should we call it episode 1?
Yeah, right?
I suppose so. So hi. How are you?
Hi, pretty lady.
Hi, darling. So.
Every time I don't know what to say, I'm just going to drink.
Okay, that's fine. And I decided to pull from the cupboard, cupboard, the Wonder Woman cup.
And I'm the Superman.
There you go. When you used to have a lot of like.
Let's do superpowers.
Yay.
Combine. And we combine, and then that's what pops out. The two boys that came up there.
There you go. Oh my gosh, really? Okay, so definitely an interesting week. I
Yes.
had a lot of things going on within the last couple of weeks, and just kind of getting a glimpse of what's been happening here now as we approach the end of the year. A lot of people that were looking at purchasing and to be into a home by the end of the year, this is like the final cut when you think about it, unless you're paying cash. If you're planning to finance, generally it's about a 30-day if you're going conventional financing to be able to close. So, that'll leave us technically around Christmas. So that being said,
Not only that though. There's other investors, and for tax reasons, people want to close in 2021.
yeah, that's true.
So there's
and
a big
also
push at the end of the year.
Yeah, to claim homestead too
Right.
is also a big one. So those are all important factors of people that wanting to move in before the end of the year. Now, because something else to keep in mind as far as, closing dates are concerned, you also have the title companies, and we'll explain what that is and their role. But the title companies are basically the ones that tie everything in a pretty bow, and they are I would say, it's a team effort really, but
Right.
the title company is the one that the area that of expertise that they would go ahead and facilitate the closings. So they're also closed for the holidays, usually a couple of days in December, and now coming up in for Thanksgiving break. So those are things to keep in mind when you're talking about wanting to move into a house, not to mention New Year's, right?
Right. So as far as November and December, that's combined is really close to just a little over a month of actual business hours.
Right.
Because of all the holidays. So
Yeah. So kind of close.
right.
So I wanted to touch on a little bit of the beginning. And, you'd think that there are so many resources that are out there available to the general public regarding first steps. And
we made a video
always-
on that already.
Yes, I
The
know.
first step. We sat with a mortgage broker. You guys should check that video out.
That's true. That is true. It's still extremely relevant it always is. Now, the way how you can write a contract, there's a lot of creative things that you can put on there to make your offer stand out more than the rest. But I will say that one of the basic, most important things that you should have is a
Pre-qualification / pre-approval.
or pre-approval.
Now, sometimes that confuses people.
Right. So explain a little bit about what's the difference? Like, what is a pre-qualification? Because I hear that's always thrown around a lot,
Right.
But pre-qualifications, some of these agencies or companies out there can spit them out pretty quickly.
And that's if you don't, I guess it's not fair to say redefine print. But what a pre-qualification is not as strong as a pre-approval. So a pre-qualification, I'm looking at my notes down here just so I get this correct. Generally, it's a first step, and it doesn't require any docs. That's just you, Joe Smith, the buyer, call your bank. Hey, Mr. Banker, I want to buy a house. And the banker says, okay, well, how much you make? And they're looking for your income, your assets, your debts, and sometimes they pull your credit score. Most of the time, they pull your credit score for the pre-qualification. Now, the difference between the pre-qual and the pre-approval is the pre-qualification, there is no documents. They don't send you documents. They take you at your word. It's not as strong as a pre-approval. The pre-approval is when you start submitting your documents and start verifying your said income that you make and your said debts and everything else. So that's stronger. That's why people will give you a pre-qualification. This is why you get that scam mail, or not scam, but the junk mail. You're pre-qualified for $35,000 home. And you're like, what? And that's because they're just guesstimating. That's not as strong as a pre-approval.
Right.
But you do need that to start the home buying process. You have to get the ball rolling. You can't just go look at houses without a pre-qualification.
Yes,
not in this market.
I cannot
want you to speak on
stress
that.
Yeah,
Speak on that.
I just can't stress that enough. You know, I work with people all the time that will figure on their own, kind of guesstimate. You know, you can find a mortgage calculator and they're like, well, we could afford a $2,000 mortgage or $1,600, whatever's the number, right? So when you see that as an agent, you know, I can't go by that, because what happens is, okay, let's say that, great, that means that you can feel comfortable based on your word on a $250,000 home. So imagine
Let's run that through. Run that scenario through. That they say 250. You show them houses at 250, and then if it falls through because they actually go and get the actual pre-approval,
so
and they start verifying their docs,
yes.
and they realize the house that they fell in love with, they can't get.
Yeah.
And you wasted
actually,
a whole bunch of time.
You know, it has happened to me early on. And unfortunately, those are some experiences that you
Good
have
experiences,
to,
though.
Yeah, you take it in the chin, right? I mean, you
So
really
you can
have
have the
to learn.
experience to make a video like this.
Yes. And one of the things, which, by the way, future reference, you put zero honey in my...
No, I put a lot of honey.
Okay.
You're just so sweet that you can't taste the difference.
I'm drinking bitter tea.
I think I'm going to zoom in
with
when I
zero
laugh like that.
honey. So, hold on. Let me
It's not
take
that bitter. Did
You
you hear
know,
my
the
nice
steeping
compliment
time
where I said that
is
you're so
maximum
sweet
fi-
that you can't tell?
Yes, but I can't tell because the tea is
But
way
you
too
didn't
bitter.
give me a compliment on my compliment.
I appreciate the compliment on the compliment,
Thanks.
but the tea is still bitter. The thought that counts, I suppose. Okay, so anyway, going back to what we were saying. So yeah, that actually did happen one time when I was working with a couple of clients that were actually self-employed. And good note to remember is that after COVID, a lot of the 1099 or, you know, independent contractors, it actually becomes, you need to provide a lot more. In fact, you need to provide 2 years of
That's the general
pay
rule of
stubs.
thumb.
That's the general
2
rule
years
of thumb. 2 years
of work history.
Yes.
And some people get confused where, let's say they're a nurse in a hospital in California and they want to move to Florida. And it's as long as you're in the same industry, and don't quote me, you want to get with a lender.
Right.
But as long as you're within the same industry. So if you're a nurse in California and you work there for a year and then you come to Florida and you've worked here for a year, that counts as 2 years because you're in the same industry. If you're going from a nurse to a plumber, it's a different story.
That's a different story. And golly, I have had so many people, especially because of the people that are coming from out of state and they're wanting to move to this area. They think, you know what, leave my job, I could start fresh, start at a new place. And I'm like, time out, hold your horses.
Talk to your lender
Just
first.
Wait a minute. And that's always the next question. The next question is always, okay, well, are you already working with a lender? And 9 times out of 10, no. You know, a lot of people that call, and I do love the phone calls and the questions and the inquiries that I get. But one of the biggest things is they're like super eager to move, but there's a lot of things that has to happen ahead of time. So let's say the scenario of having a nurse, right? So a nurse is coming from out yonder. I'll say out yonder.
That's anywhere but Florida.
Anywhere but here. And
anywhere north of Ocala.
you know
is
what?
Out yonder.
Even if it's in Florida.
There is some out
another
yonder
rule.
spots.
There.
I worked in
a couple of.
How you spell that?
Yeah. Yeehaw. Sure is the Yeehaw Junction. Don't know if you've been there. I went there once.
I actually
It's
worked
a
in a
place.
Yeehaw place.
Did you?
Yeah,
you sure
Citra.
did. Really, you're calling it out?
What?
Okay, what else?
No, I'm not. It's the people there. They wear hats like the Yeehaw town.
They
own it.
There's beautiful
Oh, I
farmland
love it out there.
up in that
Oh,
area
the whole
as well.
area is nice.
But you know, anyway. So when a person's looking at coming into a new area and they're planning to acquire a job here, and they're planning to get a mortgage, I'll go ahead and just preface that, because if you're paying cash, it doesn't necessarily matter.
yeah.
Cash is cash, right? But if you're planning to actually get a mortgage and for it to be considered your primary residence, it has to be within a 100-mile radius. So in order for it to be considered a primary residence, that's going to basically mean the down payment is going to look different than if you were going to look at a secondary home. So I don't know, did I lose people on that one? Maybe I need to.
They need to get their
Do I
lender
need to hash
because
that out a little bit? Okay, so I feel like I'm kind of squirrely tonight. It's been a
That's all
long
right.
week, and I feel like I'm going.
you know what it
everywhere.
is. There's not enough honey in that tea.
That is exactly right, honey. Will set me straight.
Do you know that I have a hard time doing these podcasts?
Why?
Because I'm always looking at you when you're talking.
I am trying to look at the camera.
I know, but
I'm
it's
still
really
not
hard.
Used to this. I'm not used
Me
to
either, I'm not
this
used
whole
to it.
thing, but I suppose.
But it's just your
this is-
beauty captivates me.
Oh, okay, whatever.
I like squirrels.
You're calling me a squirrel?
Yeah.
That's true. That's like my spirit
No,
animal.
but I do have that problem where I'm always looking at you when you're talking. I have to
Okay,
look
but you're
forward.
like not letting me finish my thought.
All right, go ahead.
I love you though.
I love you too.
So
It's just that because I have to keep looking at the camera.
this is gonna be impossible to get through. Okay, so
Try not to look at you.
let's focus.
All right.
So one of the things that somebody that's wanting, like, once again, I've been trying to say this point within the last couple of minutes, but if they're coming here, you need a letter of intent. And so a letter of intent says, okay, Miss Nurse over here is planning to move to Ocala. The letter of intent that would be acceptable to a lender would actually have a start date. That's really important. Some lenders are more strict than others, but generally, rule of thumb, I am not a mortgage originator, but I will tell you that I have had buyers that have been in a very similar spot, that they want to get financing, but they haven't secured 100% a job here with a start date. And so that affects the mortgage process, because the mortgage, the loan originator can't give them a true, pre-qualification or even pre-approval, even if they have all the documents ready to go, unless they know for sure that this is going to be their primary home. Now, if they choose not to have it as a primary residence, but as a secondary home, then that's going to change the amount of money that they're generally going to put down, specifically if it's a conventional loan.
So would it be safe to assume a good rule of thumb is when you're looking to buy a house and you're not going to pay cash, and you're going to borrow money, that before you quit your job, move, buy a car, get a new credit card,
Oh, good grief.
before you do anything,
That's another video.
that is, but before you do anything, get a hold of your lender or a lender.
Please, yes.
And heed their advice, because they're going to tell you, all right, this is what you need to do. That's literally probably the first step if you're going to borrow money to buy a house.
100%.
Is get with a lender and find out what you need to do or what you need to avoid doing.
Yes.
Because oftentimes, inside joke, oftentimes you end up being your worst enemy by making a silly mistake like that.
So if you plan, a lot of people in the new year, I was actually reading about this, that there's going to be obviously a shift. The market just ebbs and flows. And
I'm
that's
comfortable
just,
right here,
That's
by the
just the way. Oh, good for you.
Moved it.
That's just the way it goes. And in the new year, they're saying that there's interest rates are going to be increasing within 2022.
The speculation right now.
That
though,
is speculation, but that's also on, I read
strong
it in the
possibility.
Florida Realtors magazine.
Right.
So there's a very strong possibility of that. So, with that, it also
That's less buying power.
buying power. And when you're talking about people that were thinking about listing this year but decided to wait, they are saying that more people are going to be listing next year than this year. And I will say that would be music to my ears, because
Right.
it's
The
definitely
low inventory right now.
It's been crazy.
Right. Not enough houses. Even construction, they can't keep up with the amount of people that are looking for houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's definitely a seller's market, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
Homes are staying a little bit longer on the market within the last, I would say, the last month or so.
I should have pulled up the stats from last month to this month.
Makes
Next
another,
time.
Yeah, that makes another little, video.
Another video
So
on the current
that's,
market.
those things are all obviously going to help the market. So let's kind of talk about what a healthy market looks like.
All right, let's see how much time we have here.
So
Ooh, we got 8 minutes.
Oh, snap.
We're going to keep this under 30 minutes for this first episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So a healthy market generally, and I think I said this before
Probably.
in a previous video, but a healthy market is going to have a minimum of 6 months of inventory. And right now we are teetering at the 1 month mark. So
Can you break that down? What does that mean? If I was a buyer, because I'm a little bit confused on that terminology. I understand in general there's 6 months of inventory and that's a healthy market. But when there's 1 month of inventory, what does that look like on paper?
on paper,
Yeah. Does it mean that there's enough houses that can sell for 6 months?
right.
But now there's only enough to sell for 1 month.
That is correct.
So that clarifies that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and imagine that. Imagine only having 1 month supply of houses.
Right.
And you have all these people that are coming in. New construction can't catch up.
Right.
And there's just literally not enough houses. And the crazy thing that as a result of that, there's been an increase in rental rates. I've actually had
Ooh,
several
that's another
phone
video.
calls this week.
People are wanting to buy, just don't have to pay the crazy rent right now.
The rents right now are going up dramatically. And, we're talking, it's not just like a small percentage. I mean, you're talking $300 to $400. I've had, just this week alone, I've had 3 phone calls of people that are like, I think we're done renting and we want to go ahead and
They want to buy them, then they
wanna
can't find
buy.
anything because nothing's lasting.
Right. So it's the perfect storm.
It is a perfect storm.
So we're hoping that possibly next year, with the increase in inventory, that'll ease
Right.
up some of that demand. So that's, those are things to come. And of course, like anything else, the market just changes and it's very dynamic. It's not something that, you could say that the number of houses right now might be a little bit stale, but it's just a matter of time. A lot of people don't want other people coming into their home during the holiday season.
Especially through this pandemic.
Yes. Oh, that changed the course of everything.
Right.
That really did. That changed the.
But in a sense, it made it a little more strict. So sellers are not even entertaining verbal offers. Like they won't even accept that unless you actually have a pre-approval.
Yes.
So
That's
in
another
that sense,
thing.
that kind of
I've had
weeds out
Yes, and just
the window shopping.
last week I had and I've seen this a couple of times. So there's 2 big questions right now that are coming up. Number 1 is, if I'm going to submit an offer, did your buyer see the home?
Isn't that crazy?
No.
There's a lot
The
of sight unseen.
Over around April, May of this
Ooh.
year, I sold several that
I
were sight
remember that.
unseen. And hats off to the people that are willing to do that. And,
Right.
it's hard for me to buy shoes online, like I can't even imagine. But you know what?
Buying a house without
Buying a
even
house,
going there.
that's a big deal. So it's a
We
big
did a lot for them,
investment.
though. We did a lot of virtual tours for them and everything.
That's true. And that's the job of the agent, right? To try to
Of
do
course.
your best to showcase the house in a way
Right.
that they can actually see to the best of their ability. Not only the house, but then also drive through the neighborhood. And let me tell you, my ratio is still 50% on that.
How do you mean?
Like I've had people that have come and they were like, oh my gosh, this is perfect.
Oh,
This
right.
house is amazing and thank you so much. And they're super happy. And I've had the other side of it that they come and they're just like, oh. I
But you
don't like the
can't win.
neighborhood.
You can't win with that
And-
because you don't know where these people are coming
Well,
from
no,
or their
absolutely.
standard.
Absolutely, and that's one of the questions to ask when you're getting to know your buyer is what is it that you are coming from, right? So somebody that's coming from vast farmland might not be content with being in an area
All
that
this concrete.
has
Yeah.
houses that are really close to
Cookie
each
cutter
other.
right next to each other,
Yeah,
right?
where other people that live in the city, they go
This is-
ham. They're
this
like,
is-
I have some green. I got some
Right.
green space.
Yes,
This
you
is
can't
it."
win. You got to know, you got to know your buyer.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well-
that everybody's different. Everybody's different. That's just the way
You're
that
different.
goes.
You're a squirrel and you like bitter tea.
I do not like bitter tea, but
You love it.
that's apparently what I was given today, so I'll take it like Wonder Woman.
All right,
There you
I'll
go.
take it like Superman. Hey, that's a good closing. because we are out of time.
Well, then, I hope that you guys enjoyed
Our first.
our first
Oh,
official...
we're going to cling?
Oh, that was kind of not as like high pitched.
Not clingy.
Not
That was
clingy.
bad.
That was like a mug, like a. Well,
You want to try again?
that's
I could add
pinky
a,
up
I could add a cling when I edit the video.
with the diamond.
Ready? 3, 2,
that
1.
goes with it.
I'm going to add a cling.
silly.
I'm going to add like a little sound
Okay.
effect. Anyway, thank you guys so much for
Yes.
stopping by and watching our first ever episode 1 podcast.
Yes, and I hope that you found this informative, and maybe you're not in the market right now to buy or sell, but you know someone that is and looking for, shopping around for some agents. Just give us a call, or all of our contact information will be available.
Yep, and then in the description below, or drop us a comment. If you guys don't mind, let us know exactly how you like that 360 tours I've been popping out. If you guys like that, let me know if you like that. Why did I say it like 3 times? If you like
don't
that,
know.
why don't you like
That's
that?
your
Let me know how you guys like those videos, the 360 tours. I think that moving forward, I'm going to do more neighborhood stuff, not driving down the highway 50 miles an hour. So
Yeah.
look forward to that. Let me know how you guys like it in the comments below.
All right. And if you have any questions as well, please go ahead and ask them. It'll also create some good content
Right.
for future videos. So we'd love to hear from you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. And
Oh, happy Thanksgiving. God bless.
yes,
And
happy Thanksgiving.
that's it.
Absolutely. That's it. That's all she wrote.
Bye.
All right. Bye.